Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Amine from your channel Amine News. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing to be always updated. Take a listen to this and then we get back at the end of the video.
Special counsel Jack Smith and his team reportedly continued to zero in on a contentious Oval Office meeting that occurred in the final days of Donald Trump's administration. Multiple sources telling CNN investigators have asked several witnesses who appeared before the grand jury, the one that's been convened in the investigation into the January 6th attack on the Capitol and the efforts by Trump and his allies to overturn the 2020 election. Some of those witnesses were asked about the meeting months ago, while others, including Rudy Giuliani, reportedly were questioned about it only recently. Sources tell CNN prosecutors specifically have inquired about 3 outside Trump advisors who participated in meetings. Trump lawyer Sidney Powell, one-time National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, and former Overstock CEO Patrick Byrne. Lawyers for Giuliani, Powell, and Byrne all declined to comment to CNN. The network says it also reached out to an attorney for Flynn for comment, but has yet to hear back. Here is what we learned about that explosive meeting at the White House that took place on December 18th, 2020. In video testimony played during the January 6 hearings last summer, we heard how Trump's outside advisors clashed with White House officials over conspiracies of election fraud and outlandish efforts to keep Donald Trump in power.
I got a call either from Molly or Cushman that I need to get to the Oval Office.
So that was the first point that I had recognized. Okay, there was nobody in there from the White House. Mark's gone. What's going on right now?
I opened the door and I walked in. I saw General Flynn. I saw Sidney Powell sitting there. I was not happy to see the people who were in the Oval Office.
Explain why.
Well, again, I don't think they were providing. Well, first of all, the Overstock person, I never knew who this guy was. Actually, the first thing I did, I walked in, I looked at him, and I said, "Who are you?" And he told me. I don't think any of these people were providing the president with good advice, and so I didn't understand how they had gotten in.
I was asking, like, you claiming the Democrats were working with Hugo Chavez, Venezuelans, and whomever else. And at one point, General Flynn took out a diagram that supposedly showed IP addresses all over the world, and who was communicating with whom via the machines, and some comment about like Nest thermostats being hooked up to the internet.
So it's been reported that during this meeting, Ms. Powell talked about Dominion voting machines and made various election fraud claims that involve foreign countries such as Venezuela, Iran, and China. Is that accurate?
Sure.
Was the meeting tense?
Oh, yeah. It was not a casual meeting.
Explain.
I mean, at times there were people shouting at each other, hurling insults at each other. It wasn't just sort of people sitting around on a couch, like chit-chatting.
Cipollone and Hirschman and whoever the other guy was showed nothing but contempt and disdain of the president.
Yeah, I remember the 3 of them were really sort of forcefully attacking me verbally. Derek, and we were pushing back, and we were asking one simple question as a general matter: where is the evidence? So,
what response did you get when you asked Ms. Powell and her colleagues, where's the
a variety of responses based on my current recollection, including, can't believe you would say something like, things like this, like, what do you mean, where's the evidence? You should know, and things like that, or, a disregard, I would say, a general disregard for the importance of actually backing up what you say with facts.
Derek and I both challenged what she was saying, and she says, well, the judges are corrupt. And I was like, everyone? Every single case that you've done in the country you guys lost, every one of them is corrupt, even the ones we appointed? And I'm being nice. I was much more harsh to her.
All that from the January 6th committee interviews that we saw last summer. Jonathan Lemire remains staggering a year later to just hear it in words. The people who got so close to the President of the United States. Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, of course, but this Overstock CEO who took a break from selling affordable area rugs to push conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. You had the Mr. Pillow guy suggesting martial law be implemented. The fact that these characters got that close to the president, had that much influence on what was happening in the country, remains shameful today.
Yeah, it really takes you back, doesn't it, Willie, seeing that footage again. And we heard there, I was not happy to see these people from the White House lawyer looking at that cast of characters that you just described, who had regular access, unfettered access to the Oval Office in those weeks after the election, after so much of Trump's senior staff had departed or had been sidelined in some way. And Susan Page, as we listen to that video again, others, who else has heard that video? Jack Smith. And it is sort of an open secret around Washington that it was the work of that January 6th committee that really pushed DOJ to double up their efforts in the January 6th investigation, which now there is some thought that before the summer is out, sometime in the fall, there could be charges coming from that too. The special counsel not just looking at classified documents, but perhaps election interference in January 6th as well. What would that moment be like were it to occur?
Yeah, first of all, kudos to the January 6th committee for giving us such a clear window into that meeting. I mean, we already know a lot about that meeting from a variety of perspectives, just from the clips that were just shown. And it's a reminder that Jack Smith's work is not done, even though he's indicted the president on charges relating to alleged misuse of sensitive government documents. It certainly shows him looking at this question of former President Trump's role in the January 6th attack and in other efforts to overturn the results of that presidential election. Everything seems, it's easy to get caught in superlatives when you talk about the things that have happened relating to former President Trump. One of them is, what if we do see indictments brought against him by a federal prosecutor for trying to overturn the election he lost? It is simply, once again, territory we have never seen in the history of this country, Jonathan.
And this is the new investigation, as he's already been indicted for the Mar-a-Lago documents. Jack Smith also on a parallel track focused on this, and now the news this morning that apparently very focused on that meeting we just described. Coming up.
Special Counsel Jack Smith team has signaled the continued interest in a chaotic Oval Office meeting that took place in the final days of the Trump administration, during which the former president considered some of the most desperate proposals to keep him in power over objections from his White House counsel. Multiple sources inform us that investigators have asked several witnesses before the grand jury and during interviews about the meeting, which happened about 6 weeks after Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. Some witnesses were asked about the meeting months ago, while several others have faced questions about it more recently, including Rudy Giuliani. Last month, for 2 consecutive days, Giuliani sat down with investigators for a voluntary interview about a range of topics, including the tumultuous December 2020 meeting that he attended, sources said. Prosecutors have specifically inquired about 3 outside Trump advisors who participated in the meeting: former Trump lawyer Sidney Powell, one-time National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, and former Overstock CEO Patrick Byrne, sources said. Byrne responded to CNN reporting to Byrne responded to our sources reporting on Twitter early Friday morning, tweeting, Hi Jack Smith, I take all responsibility. Best Best of all, with my eidetic memory, I can tell you amazing detail about it. Parrot-like, say some. Call collect, I'm here to help. Giuliani, on the other hand, Robert Costello declined to comment. A lawyer for Powell as well declined to comment, as did a lawyer for Byrne. Both Powell and Byrne previously spoke at length under oath about the meeting and other topics to the House committee that investigated the January 6, 2021 attack on the US Capitol. Flynn declined to answer questions in his committee interview by asserting his Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination. That is the news hours for today. My name is Amine. Thanks for joining us, and please stay safe and see you soon.